Hello, hello. Is my voice audible? Hello. So as of now, three people have joined. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Nega. How are you?
Just two. Yeah, fine, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
Yeah, good, good.
Ma'am, we also have with Shalin, ma'am. She'll be the co-moderator for today's
Oh,
event, ma'am.
oh,
Good evening,
good
ma'am.
evening,
I'm Shalin
Shalin.
from
Good to see
Vilupuram
you.
Medical
Yeah,
College.
good to see you. Which year you belong to?
Second year,
Second
ma'am.
year. Oh, great, great.
Yes.
How is Dr.
Yeah, like
Rajaram? Who's your HOD in pharmacology? Dr. Rajaram?
Rajaram, sir.
Ah, okay, okay. I know him well.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I think Shalin, how many more yet to join? All 10 did like.
Let me check.
I think except Shweta S, everyone joined, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Uh, 1 minute. Yeah, and I think all 10 people joined. So I think now let's begin. So, a good evening to one and all, and a warm welcome to all the finalists who have gathered to engage in the battle of view through this debate competition altercation, Adrenalgics 2020, conducted by SNO Tamil Nadu. And so, myself, Negashri, State Vice President, and we have with us like Shalin, the GA State Research Coordinator. So, we both will be the moderators for today's event. And I feel immensely elated to introduce to you the judge for today's debate competition, Dr. Sudha Ma'am, the Professor, Institute of Pharmacology, Madras Medical College. Ma'am is one of the senior most professor from the Premier Institute of Madras Medical College, Chennai. She has been actively involved and been supporting the students of MMC in various academic events. She is extremely student friendly and has been guiding thousands of students working towards connecting young minds towards success and achievement. And how can I forget to mention, Ma'am has published various of articles to her credit to name some spontaneous ADR reporting in tertiary care hospital for the Pharma Nest, effects of probiotics in acute diarrhea for the Indian Journal of Clinical Pharmacology, evaluation of immunomodulatory activity of cow urine in diabetic rats, evolution of hypouricemic and uricosuric activity of abutilon indicum sweet on pot oxynate-induced hyperuricemia in rats for the International Journal of Institutional Pharmacy and Life Sciences. Thank you for accepting our invite on behalf of SNO Tamil Nadu, ma'am. Now I request Shalan to explain the rules to the participants about the debate and then we shall proceed. Over to you, Shalan.
Thank you, Neha. A very warm welcome to everyone. Myself, Shalin. So, the topic for the finale is Googling symptoms, headache to healthcare. There are totally 10 participants who are divided into teams of 5, and each speaker will be given 4 minutes to speak for their side of motion. A buzz will be given for every 4 minutes to remind you the timing. Please do keep up with it. After everyone put for their points, 1 minute will be given individually for the rebuttal. Similar buzzer will be given after the 1 minute. So about the scoring, each person shall be scored individually. The scoring will be under the 5 categories. It is organization and clarity, use of arguments, use of examples and facts, presentation style, and use of rebuttal. Each of you will be scored out of 5 points under these 5 categories, and a total score will be awarded out of 25 points. So let me read out the names. So beginning with team 4, Rangapriya, Varshita, Aryanja, Niranjana Davis, and Shalomi. And then team against, the order is Sabri Girish, Padmapriya, Shrija, Sakshi Kumari, Shweta. So the participants will go in this order for the topic and against the topic. So I'll read the name list once again. Please take note of it. For team 4, it is Rangapriya, Varshita, Aryanja, Niranjana Davis, and Shalomi. And then team against, the order is Sabri Girish, Padmapriya, Shrija, Sakshi Kumari, and Shweta. So according to the rules, the judges' decision will be final. So there won't be any changes after that. That's all with the rules, Neha.
Yeah. I think all of you are clear with it. First, we'll begin one person from the for team, and then we'll go one from the against, and it will continue. Once all of this is completed, again we'll go for a rebuttal round, for which, as Shalan said, 1 minute will be given. I think we can begin now. Ma'am, shall we begin, ma'am?
Yes, ma. Sure. We can go ahead.
So, Shalan, I want you to call out names to begin first.
Before that, Aryanja has raised his hand for something. I guess he has some doubt.
Actually, I have one question. For the rebuttal round, the participants will be asking amongst themselves, or will the judges be asking the participants?
Can you be a bit more clear? We couldn't hear you properly.
For the rebuttal round, am I audible?
It's kind of a little feeble. Like, it could be clearer.
Okay, I'm saying for the rebuttal round, participants will be asking each other, or will the judges be asking the participants?
Like, you can raise questions, but it won't go like a discussion. Like, you can prompt questions, but it is not like kind of discussion.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Over to you, Shalan.
Okay. So to begin with, from team 4, I'd like to call Rangapriya, who is the first speaker today.
Good evening. Shalan, you can also mention the college which they are from. The name and the institution, you have no idea? Or the contestant themselves can introduce themselves from the college, which college they are from.
Yeah, that will do, ma'am. So, guys,
Please
before going,
introduce yourself, Rangapriya.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Rangapriya from Rajamutiya Medical College. So, good evening, everyone. I would like to speak for the topic Googling symptoms is headache to healthcare. So, with the advent of smartphones and
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me start the timer for you. 1 minute.
And
Yes,
one more minute also, like, ma'am, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are.
Ma'am, she's going for the topic, ma'am. Googling symptoms, headache for healthcare, ma'am.
Yeah, I got it.
You can continue. Shalan.
Yes, Rangapriya. So your time starts now.
Okay. So, I would like to speak for the topic Googling symptoms is headache to healthcare. So, with the advent of smartphones and lucrative data pack, our country has large number of internet users. So much so that our country is the world's second most internet users. So, the panacea for all the problems is available on our fingertips. Right from school projects to building rockets, there's a plethora of information available online. So, there is no stopping us from Googling the symptoms. So, let's be honest here. Every one of us must have Googled our symptoms out of curiosity or out of fear, at least once in our lifetime. And especially this has occurred even during the COVID lockdown. Even minor symptoms like cough and cold made us fear for our lives and take unnecessary tests. So this made many of us cyberchondriac, which is a new term coined for hypochondriac due to excessive Googling of symptoms. And this, there is a rise of telemedicine, but the reliability is very less because the doctor can't see the patient by himself, examine the patient, but can treat based on the history. So there were a lot of false information circulating among social media with the rise of alternative medicine with little to no scientific basis based on the information which we got from online. And we already know how the pharmacies ran out of hydroxychloroquine after its effects were made available online. So I would like to divide my topic into 3 categories, like problem faced by doctors and problem faced by patients and problem with the Google on the whole. So the problem faced by doctor is due to advent of Googling symptoms, the patient, there is lack of trust by patients on the doctors. And the doctor has hard time in convincing patients for a particular treatment. And the doctors are forced to oblige the patient's demand of getting unnecessary extra tests. For example, if the patient says, I have headache, so please take MRI for me. Although the doctor says, they insist that there may not be any condition, without any history, I can't do anything, the patient won't oblige, saying that I have brain tumor, that's what the Google suggests. So please take MRI for me. And the doctors are forced in a situation of compromising the years of expertise to save their reputation at stake. So that if they say, no, you don't have any problem, they have fear that the patient may not come again to them. And the problem faced by patients due to Googling symptoms are increased anxiety and unnecessary medical visits, or not visiting the doctors at all. There are 2 extremes. Seeking medical attention when not needed and not seeking medical attention when needed. Because either we overestimate your symptoms and end up taking wrong medication, or engage in wrong self-treatment, or you underestimate your symptoms and let a condition to worsen. And there is excessive reliance on Googling symptoms, hence going into a rabbit hole. And not knowing the reliable sources due to lack of expertise in a medical field. Because the patients don't know which one to trust, because there is a lot of information available online. And this makes the patient to stop medication after Googling the side effects, or resorting to alternative medicine as they find it more lucrative. And also, it is hard for them to know if that information is accurate or if it fits with our symptoms. Sometimes the information you find may be wrong or misleading. Other times, the information may be accurate but may not be right for your situation. But I would like to enumerate the problems of Googling as a whole. Medical symptoms is not a checklist because everyone has a unique set of symptoms. But the Google doesn't consider patient's history, but data only based on the algorithm of previous search results, regardless of reliability of the results. Because Google's AI algorithms work perfectly because they often prioritize content optimized for the search engines. And the web uses a frequency model. So I would like to conclude by saying that it's imperative for the people to understand that if there's something they are concerned enough to Google, it's probably something your doctor also wants to know about it too. And the people shouldn't delay actual care from medical professionals who have years of intense training. And Google isn't going to look at your rash nor care enough to work harder when you're having hard time finding answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Rangapriya. Neha, shall I proceed with the next speaker?
Yeah, and ask them to introduce and the topic for or against.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So, to speak for against team, let me call upon Sabari Girish. Seems he has left the meeting. Maybe some network issues. Yes, he has joined again.
Hello,
Sabari
is it audible?
Girish?
Yeah, I'm sorry, like I just got disconnected. Is it audible?
Yeah, it's audible.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
please introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Sabari from ESIC Medical College, Chennai. So, I would like to oppose the motion. First, let us take the
Wait a minute. Sorry for interruption. Let me start the timer. And wait a minute. Yes, you may start now.
Good evening, everyone. So, healthcare system is something that is not dependent on the doctors alone, but is also dependent on the patients. Of course, it is the doctor who diagnoses the disease based on the signs and symptoms and provides a treatment protocol to the patient. However, ultimately, how effective that treatment is depends on the patient's trust towards the doctor and his understanding of that protocol. Now, it is important for us to understand. A doctor is someone who has understanding of the human anatomy, physiology, and is able to diagnose the disease based on the signs and symptoms. A patient, on the other hand, not only lacks such knowledge, but is also in a state of great anguish due to the distress that is caused by the disease. So, what is happening is there exists an information asymmetry between the doctor and the patient, and there's a tilting of the balance of power towards the doctor's sense. That's why what happens is that many times when patients consult doctor and the doctor tries to explain something to the patient, they are unable to grasp the full meaning of it due to the lack of such facilities. Now, with the advent of health literature, not only would the patient be able to understand the doctor much better, but he would also be able to take active part in shared decision making. Now, the second point I would like to highlight is that internet is just a platform for information. Just like how books have different discrepancies among themselves, there so are discrepancies present among the internet. It isn't to say that internet itself is the problem, but rather the source of information in the internet which caused the problem. There are many websites available like the Mayo Clinic, which have been officially recommended by the doctors themselves to help in the better understanding of their patients and to take part in shared decision making. Third point I would like to highlight is the point about exploitation. Many times what we find is that patients get cheated by the quacks or greedy doctors who may order unnecessary tests or more costly drugs in favor of exploiting their ignorance. If health literacy is there, such could be avoided. Finally, I would like to highlight the importance of health literacy. It is not the problem that this information is available in the internet, but rather the health literacy is lacking. For example, in a study that was conducted in the United States of America, it was found that people who had proper access to proper sources of information due to high health literacy were able to, in fact, diagnose their conditions better. And of course, they cannot compare to the doctor, but they're able to understand the doctor much better. Lastly, the mental health problems. Many of the people ignore mental health because of the fact that these symptoms are considered a taboo to our society and lack of awareness. With the advent of technology, people are now able to understand that depression is an actual medical problem and are able to ask help from the doctor early, rather than sitting and calling it is because you failed a particular test or you have some life problem. So mental health issues are being addressed. At last, I would like to conclude by stating that technology, health information is the blood for medical health, and access to proper information technology is going to act as a circulatory system to that pathway. It is true, a technology can never replace a doctor in any aspect, but that is not the goal of the technology. The goal of the technology is it is to empower the patient so that he is able to better understand the doctor, and by understanding the doctor and the patient can together take part in shared decision making, and this could help reach the zenith of the healthcare, because it is only when a doctor and patient are able to come together can a disease truly be solved at the root level. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sabari. Uh, so next, I'd like to call upon Varshita to speak for the topic. Varshita, introduce yourself and you can begin.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, I'll start. Honorable jury and dear friends, I am Varshita from Government Medical College, Vellore. I'm here to speak for the motion Googling symptoms is a headache to healthcare. Too
One
many
minute.
inventions.
I'll start the timer.
Yes.
So you can start.
Too many inventions and discoveries have taken place in the past 2 centuries. In today's world of computerization and electronics, we get all the information available in TV, radio, and internet. Nowadays, we have started using so much time in social media as machines have replaced us in our day to day activities. We have become couch potatoes with no exercise, no activity, no sunlight, and eating junk food and attracting diseases at a very young age. Technology in the 21st century has developed so much that by just pressing a few buttons and entering a few keywords, we are able to get a huge list of topics and all the information we need. And out of anxiety, the first thing that we search for are diseases. The internet will give us all the diseases linked to the symptoms and also list out the symptoms for a disease. Now, let us consider 2 situations in which a person, before visiting the doctor, decides to Google his symptoms. In the first condition, though the person might be suffering from a serious ailment, might not visit the healthcare center and instead take over the counter medications, which might end him up in a very serious situation. In the second condition, the person might not have any serious ailment, but he might get anxious on Googling his symptoms and he might start imagining and assuming that he has all the symptoms. And he might run to the medical practitioner to get medicines out of anxiety. The doctor will be bombarded with silly and unnecessary questions, which will mislead his diagnosis and waste his precious time. The patient will not be convinced unless he gets the reply that he is expecting. Though the doctor prescribes medicines, the patient will start suggesting the doctor of some grave disease. And unless he shells out his money and time for various tests, he will not be convinced and he will be unnecessarily worried. During the COVID pandemic, all types of information were floating in social media, especially WhatsApp, giving tips not to get infected. People were blindly believing all the treatments prescribed by our so called WhatsApp doctors. Some suggestions were that exposure to sunlight and drinking alcohol would prevent COVID. What rubbish! The medical fraternity, on the other hand, was struggling to bring a consensus on the symptoms and treatments. And finally, they found that COVID had to be treated symptomatically. The virus was everywhere and the entire world was suffering. The medical fraternity was overworked and helpless. Adding to the fire were trials of cures and precautions suggested from unreliable sources. This does not apply only to to common people, but also to medical practitioners. Medical practitioners cannot just Google for diagnosis or prescribing medicines. They have to follow the journals which are duly approved by the medical authorities and the World Health Organization. Otherwise, there will be no difference between a doctor and a quack. So I conclude my stand stating that Googling symptoms when you're not feeling well is the most efficient way to convince yourself that you are dying. Thank you.
Thank you, Arshita. So next, I would like to call upon Padma Priya to speak against the topic.
1 minute, Padma Priya.
Okay.
So guys, once you start speaking, the timer will be on. Like at exactly 4 minutes will be reminder. Before that, you will not be given any reminder, guys. Shalin, take note of that.
Yes.
Once you begin your introduction, the timer will be started, guys. That's it. Thank you.
Yes, okay. So Padma,
am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. I am Padma Priya from Madras Medical College, and I am here to talk for against the motion Googling symptoms headache to healthcare. So, patients these days Google to find details about the sickness. So, it's always good to possess a basic knowledge about the disease. So, this will help the patient to disclose about the details expected by the health provider. Suppose one gets the pain below the right side of the abdomen. So you'll Google to find the probable sickness he might be with, and you'll also browse about the symptoms and cures. So you'll also learn about the probable diseases he may have and also about the symptoms. So hence he will make the health provider's job easy and he will diagnose the disease using various tests. So he will also be browsing about the medicines provided to him and to comfort him. So he may know about the side effects. So and he can also know if there is nothing like serious side effects, if there is nothing to worry about, he might know about it. So patients, when the doctor gives the advice, and it is same as of what we see in the website, so the patient will get confidence from health provider when there is a match between what was diagnosed by him and what Google says. So now let's take a scenario. So a patient has come to another country as a tourist. So he might not know the local language and he might be having some kind of problem. So if he goes to a health provider, there can be a language barrier between the health provider and the health seeker. So with the use of Google Translate, he will be able to communicate well with the healthcare provider and can get appropriate treatment. So there are also various journals available in Google and other authentic websites written about different kinds of diseases and treatment modalities. So if a patient feels that he might have a rare disease, he can check with those authentic resources about his symptoms and can come to a conclusion with assistance of healthcare provider. So let's take another scenario, like a patient has symptoms of stroke. He has face weakness, arm weakness, etc. So by googling symptoms, he comes immediately to hospital. So if he is really diagnosed as stroke, during those golden period of 4.5 hours, he can be treated accurately. So even if he is not having a stroke, still because there can be a neoplasm, there can be an abscess, which is also a significant cost where treatment should be given immediately. So he will go to the hospital, and there is no loss for him going to the hospital. So I want to conclude that a patient with basic knowledge is a better asset to medical community. Thank you.
Thank you, Padma Priya. So next, I'd like to call upon Aryan Jha to speak for the topic.
Hello, good evening. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, you are visible and audible, so you may
So
start now.
should I give my introduction first or should I directly begin with my speech?
No, no, no. I'm sorry for not informing. You may directly start, and your time will start the minute you start introducing yourself.
Okay. So I am Aryan Jha from NHL Municipal Medical College and I am speaking in favor of the motion. Now I would begin. Uh, just a second. Googling symptoms, headache to healthcare. Headache to healthcare. Is this headache bad? Does it affect us? Well, after a careful analysis of the topic, I have arrived at the conclusion that here, headache doesn't mean migraine or brain tumor, as normally the internet would suggest, but just an expression that looking up symptoms over the internet in general is problematic for the entire healthcare system. But I believe the internet itself doesn't understand that not every left arm pain is a heart attack and not every abdominal pain is appendicitis. I would further like to expand on how Googling symptoms is problematic using the following core arguments. Now, number one, lack of credibility. Now, with the freedom to use the internet, a lot of information surfaces online. With important information, a lot of hoaxes to reach people. And not only that, there is also a biasness in response shown to user. Thanks to search engine optimization, where popular searches pop up first, even if they have nothing to do with your diagnosis. Without proper knowledge, it becomes difficult to filter the responses that come on the internet. And the result often is a 40-year-old woman in a household treating herself for skin cancer when her true problem is eczema. Number two, lack of accuracy. A scientific research carried out showed that Google could correctly diagnose 15% cases only. The opposition can ping me for the source if they don't believe, but with this level of accuracy, internet still has a long way to go before it can be trusted. And not just the internet. People go to YouTube and social media to find their diagnosis, and all of us know how accurate these platforms are, where they show the source of kidney stones is in your anterior superior iliac spine. Number three, ill effects on patients. Now, here I would like to highlight two cases. A, you overestimate your symptoms. Now, this might cause you to think unnecessarily about something which you might not even have, inducing anxiety, stress, or the more technical term for the same called cyberchondria, and the agony a patient has to go through. Panel, when we study about diseases, we don't realize that how severely it affects someone mentally until we are in the same shoes. And may God forbid, but imagine freaking out thinking you have cancer and taking heavy medications when you just have minor muscle pain. This is an even serious problem when mental health issues are incorrectly diagnosed. And B, you underestimate your symptoms. Now, often when a diagnosis is made, it is not only done on a few visible signs and symptoms, but other vitals, blood tests, etc. are also considered. Diseases often illustrate the iceberg phenomenon, in which the clinical signs and symptoms shown are only a small part of the disease, and there is much greater hidden part which is not visible and clearly ignored while using the internet. As a result, you might be in an illusion about your diagnosis being a minor one and prolonged treatment, increasing risks of severe health. Number four, strained doctor patient relationship. We live in a world today where patients would be rather satisfied to have a disease diagnosed and medicines given than return home normally. Patients start losing faith in the healthcare staff if the diagnosis doesn't correspond to their self diagnosis. And then we hear news like patient served sweet lime juice instead of platelets. Number five, wastage of resources. Uses of medicines and tests due to false self-diagnosis, which are not required, is clearly put into wastage, and someone who actually needs it might face a shortage. And last but not the least, an ever-increasing pressure on the healthcare system to tell the audience what is right, to convince them about their actual state of health. Ironic, isn't it? Thus, we can safely conclude that Googling symptoms is problematic for all. Thank you and have an amazing day.
Thank you, Aryan. So next we have Shrija to speak against the topic. Shrija?
So, hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible. So you may start now.
Yeah. So this is Shrija doing third year MBBS in Tagore Medical College, and I'm here to speak against the notion that Googling of symptoms is a headache to healthcare. First of all, let's clear this. Let's understand how Googling of symptoms actually works. Let's say I'm trying to find about a lump in the breast or groin. I'm going to a website and finding. What would it just say? First, it would say what a lump is, how would it look like, what are the conditions it can be benign or malignant, and if malignant, what could be the possible associated symptoms, the probable diagnosis, treatment, possible management, and most importantly, a disclaimer to consult your doctor for clarification and confirmation. Isn't it evident that how it rightly guides you to just get information for the condition and go for your doctor and not just mislead as most of the guys say? No, because it's a digital world where people take internet is everything, and it's an easy access source of information, be it healthcare or education, anything. And you can't just blindly say you have not to Google or there are a lot of cons. No, it's the patient's right to gain information about their condition. Take this pandemic. Yeah, we did have a lot of problems, but we were able to do better because of the right information given at right time. We were able to stay in touch with the healthcare. Isn't that great? And we were able to get update about the condition, about the progress of treatment, and we were able to do better just because of this. We were able to know about the do's and don'ts properly and keep us aware. Take some emergency conditions where you like a patient fainting or they have seizures, and you just find simple methods to keep and sustain them till you reach out for a proper medical emergency medical care. So these evidences are really important to say how practically Googling and search engine works. Not just that, I would like to say about doctor-patient relationship. We can't just say like Googling and like making them to panic, because recent studies have shown that Googling and knowing about the symptoms have like led to increased diagnostic accuracy rather than misdiagnosing them, and it's also not much change in the anxiety. Take the doctor-patient relationship. People already know about what are the possible conditions they could have, and it is better to make them understand in their own language. People can understand about the treatment options, and under the doctor's guidance, they're able to do better and choose is suitable for them. And not just that, it keeps them aware of the condition and motivates them to seek immediate health care whenever needed. Okay. So with this, it is actually showing Googling is helping rather than being a headache. I will just conclude with this. Imagine yourself doing like having a clinic, owning clinic, and people come to you after Googling a lot of symptoms. Will they trust you if you say just don't Google and trust me blindly? No, because they think it's their right to know and gain information about the condition. Yeah, but it's our duty to explain them what sites to rely on, how to what extent they can believe the internet, so that they can keep themselves updated. Because learning and gaining knowledge in any field is not wrong thing. It's their right to get proper information, and especially in healthcare, with along with the doctor's proper guidance, it definitely helps in the improvement of healthcare rather than being a headache. With this, I would like to conclude my argument, and I thank everyone for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrija. So next, I'd like to call upon Niranjana Davis to speak for the topic.
Hello, am I audible?
It's not quite clear.
Hello, I'm traveling because my train got late. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible. So you may start now, Niranjana.
Okay. Admit it, you have done it. Whether it was an unusual pain in your chest, a strange scam, or a call that lingered too long, rather than hit to primary provider, you turned into internet for answers. You are not alone. According to a survey in US adults, 60% looked for online health information. 18, 10 online health inquiries start at the search engine. Good evening to one and all. Today I'm here to speak for the notion Googling symptoms headache to healthcare. Definitely not. Your habit of Googling your symptoms is bad for your health. What is the first thing you do when you start feeling under the weather? Do you wait for symptoms to become more prominent or do you immediately start taking precautions? You probably Google your symptoms on the web, but more often than not, it's self-diagnosis on internet. Always points towards something more sinister. For example, if you're searching for headache, you are most likely to going into find 20 results, each scarier than the other. There are chances that your headache might also be diagnosed as a tumor, and your perpetual fatigue could be a sign of an underlying disease, including cancer. In addition to incorrect diagnosis, self diagnosing your symptoms using Google can actually mask potentially dangerous disease. So, apart from sketchy and inaccurate diagnosis of innumerable medical websites on internet, it is the risk of not being able to identify disease correctly. Spent years in medical college before you bought doctors with the detailed self-diagnosis you did with help of internet. Keep in mind that studying medicine is not a cakewalk. Doctor can physically see and examine your symptoms way better than your pop quiz about a headache. Googling can make you anxious. In fact, there is actual term called cyberchondria, tendency of self-diagnosing yourself with medical conditions by searching for symptoms online, resulting in serious anxiety. Case in point, just look for any symptom online and it is bound to be linked with some form of tumor or cancer. It can also make you feel sicker than you actually are. Anyone can publish any content online. Nobody can vouch for the quality or credibility of the content available online. While it can provide you information from credible sources, it can also get you links of some sketchy websites that are bogus information. You cannot replace professional medical help with a Google search engine. By doing so, you are inadvertently putting yourself at the risk of anxiety and incorrect diagnosis. There's a lot of junk present on the internet that might be nowhere even near to the actual solution to the problem. While we cannot prevent or even resist ourselves from typing out symptoms on Google in order to understand what is wrong with us, it is important to know the difference between reliable source of information and complete garbage. Ask your doctor about some reliable medical websites online before trying sticking to those. Thank you and have a nice day. I conclude by saying Googling is definitely not a good idea and it is always a headache to healthcare. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Niranjana. So next, we have Sakshi Kumari to speak against the topic.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Sakshi.
Yeah. Can I start now?
Yeah. So you may start.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sakshi Kumari from Shimoga Institute of Medical Sciences, and I'm going to be speaking against the notion. Internet, without doubt, is the most revolutionized invention of our time. It is allowed to exchange and access of information at a rate that was not feasible for our ancestors. Google, Internet, they have been a boon to the medical technology. Physicians have been estimated to carry 2 million facts in their head to fulfill their role. With medical knowledge expanding, this may not be enough. Search engines allow quick access to increasing knowledge base. According to a study by the National England of Journal Medicine, 15 of the 26 cases were put up, and Google could find out could correctly diagnose 15 out of the 26 cases, which is about 58% of accuracy, and was most accurate in diagnosing the rare causes. I would also like to point out the function of Google. The Google is intended to keep the patient informed and not come up with the diagnosis and the treatment of the patient. Also, the National Institute, the NIH in the UK is planning to take Google Health to manage the ailments and thus decrease the pressure on emergency services. This is minded to not bring down or replace doctors, but with the intention to decrease unnecessary visits. Also, Googling symptoms, internet, this can make the patient more informed. And also, it is always easier to explain the nuances of a disease to an informed patient than to someone who has no clue about it. Then I would also like to say that Google is to aid the patients and the doctors and not to replace them. According to a survey done in 2014, about 80% of the healthcare providers were supportive of the fact that patients had Google their symptoms beforehand. And also it was seen that there was an increase in the patient-doctor relationship as the patients were aware of the symptoms and were also seen to be more compliant. According to another study done in the US and UK, two-thirds of the 80% of the patients who reported to the doctors had Googled the symptoms previously. So I will conclude by saying that while it is easier for some to just sit in their ivory towers and suffer about the damage, there are millions who have benefited from the ubiquitous nature of the internet. Yeah, and Dr. Google is not just a double-edged sword, but which benefits all if used judiciously. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi. So next, we have Shalomi to speak for the topic. Shalomi.
Hello everyone, I'm Shalomi from Government A Road Medical College. Googling, a headache to both healthcare and the public. And today, I'm going to speak for the notion. I was really happy when I had to speak for the notion. So before actually jumping into the topics, we'll first clear up what the healthcare means and the public means. Healthcare actually denotes undemandable doctors, the frontline workers as the nurses, and also as the medical students who are going to be the tomorrow's healthcare. And the public are the people who come in search for the healthcare from these persons. So I have tons of reasons to put forward this statement. My first point of concern is that Google gives you 1,000 differential diagnoses. For example, if you search Mala rash is a clinical feature of, you would get about 1.6 million results from the Google. And you are about to sink in the sea of the misguided knowledge rendered by the Google. My second point of concern is that Google creates a terrifying environment that spoils a good doctor-patient relationship. For example, let's take up a situation. Imagine me being a normal public and I know nothing of medicine. Now I get something black on my forearm. Immediately, I turn on my Google Lens and search for it. The first thing what I get is the melanoma of the skin. I'm extremely threatened and rush to the doctor. And even at that heat of the moment, I not only search for the diagnosis, I search for the entire treatment course and go and sit in front of the doctor's office. Now, I'm sitting in front of the doctor, I'm extremely cautious. Now I see every word uttered from the doctor is it matching with the words that I have studied from Google a few minutes earlier. This is the exact perspective of every Indian, not just Indian, every human who is illiterate and has access to healthcare info from the internet. This creates an unwanted and uncertain feeling, burden on the patient's heart, and also it breaks the patient's trust on the doctor. Now, this is not how it traditionally goes. Whenever a person seeks a doctor for the cure of the disease, he has a longing for the cure of the disease, and he also has a psychological placebo effect, which states that if I go and visit the doctor, half the disease of mine is gone. Now, this placebo effect is very essential for the good prognosis of the disease. But this placebo effect is completely shattered into a million pieces when Google comes in between. My third point is the crisis of ruling out. What? The crisis of ruling out? Let me explain it to you. Now, the doctor tries to exclude all the diagnosis which is in the patient's heart. Now, how is he going to rule out all the diagnosis got by the patient? He will order for an investigation. Initially, this is where the crisis starts. Initially, he will order for 400 patients at the start. 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 12, and it goes on and on with titration. It is like a road to nowhere. Now, what is it going to affect? Who is it going to affect? It is going to affect both the patients and the hospital environment. It is going to affect the economic condition of the patient by spoiling all the money, and it is also going to waste the hospital's resources. My final point, which I'm going to rest the speech on, is that how Google affects us as medical students. People nowadays do not search for answers in our books during our clinical postings. Any doubt on management or prevention or treatment is neither asked to Davidson or Harrison or, for instance, the past, directly fast forwarded to the search of Google. So, with these strong impressions, I rest my speech that Google is definitely a headache to both healthcare and general public. Thank you for the opportunity.
So, thank you, Shalomi. So, lastly, we have Shweta Suresh to talk against the topic. Shweta?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. So,
before that, Shalan, is my video visible and my voice is clear or it's breaking?
Yeah, you are visible, Nega.
Yeah, like it's clear, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
so Shweta,
you may start now. Yes.
Okay. I'm Shweta S., first year MBBS from Government Bilpram Medical College and Hospital. It's no secret that the world of healthcare has changed over the last 100 years. Things have improved and new discoveries have been made. We know that the ground causes technology. Usage of internet for health information continues to grow rapidly, but its impact on healthcare is unclear. Doctors are going to have to realize
We
that
can't see her video. Are you able to see her video?
No, ma'am. Is it necessary to on the video? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, shall I start from the beginning?
Yes. It's up to the organizers to confirm that.
Yeah, you can. Shalan, please note, allow her to speak from the beginning.
Yes, just to confirm that it's you who are talking. Okay, so that's why we want the video on.
Yes, Nega, sure, I will start the timer from the first. So, Shweta, you may start now.
It's no secret that the world of healthcare has changed over the last 100 years. Things have improved and new discoveries have been made. We know that the ground cause is technology. Usage of internet for health information grows to grow rapidly, but its impact on healthcare is unclear. Doctors are going to have to realize that often patients are doing the absolutely best thing for them by going online before the office visit. Of course, many patients are going to discover the best online health information way before their doctors do. Googling information isn't always wrong and absurd. Firstly, doctors can guide their patients to the internet sites that exclusively present current, peer reviewed, and evidence based health information. A research report shows that 58% of the doctor visiting population reported to use internet to find their health information. 46% in them reported making subsequent health related changes. By and large, these patients informed doctors of these changes, especially believing that their doctors are willing to discuss the health information they obtained online. Secondly, when doctors these days use apps to identify possible medications and possible medication errors and help patient safety, why can't it be the other way around? I clearly understand that the information doctors and patients hold towards the healthcare is different and affects the research. But this isn't the 19th century where we live in, where people don't know how to use an application. So I say, why not Google for our own well-being? Let's sum up where we stand in this debate. Although many concerns have been expressed about resulting changes in patient physician dynamics, online information gathering as a potential to foster greater patient engagement in health maintenance and care. Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. So now we come to the end of the first round. Before starting the rebuttal round, I'd like to say that A winner, a runner, and a speaker of the day will be selected based on the judging criteria, and it will be the results will be announced at the end of the rebuttal session. Can we start the rebuttal session, Nega?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, can we begin with the rebuttal, ma'am?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so the rebuttal session will also happen in the same way. Same order of speakers will be followed. Beginning with our rebuttal session, let me call upon Rangapriya.
நிற்பாங்க அது கோயிலுக்கு யாருமே அது இப்பதான் இங்க வந்துதான் அப்படி வந்து போயிருக்குல்ல.
Okay, sorry for that. Sorry for
may I
that.
start?
Yes, Rangapriya, you may start now.
I would like to ask few points, and also I would like to oppose. So, as the speaker, as my friend told, that doctors sitting together and give wise decisions and take wise decisions together. First of all, that should happen because due to increased internet searching, the patient develops a distrust in the doctor. He does not trust the doctor at all. So, if the doctor says against what he expects, he simply changes the doctor. I'm not telling, it's not an exaggeration because personally I have seen a few of my family members also doing it. Even educated member who is my uncle, who is a scientist, he is now recently diagnosed with Parkinson, and he has changed 25 doctors because they didn't agree that he has Charles Bonnet syndrome, which has been mentioned in one of the research articles. So, and also he says that I don't want to be dominated by white coats because he thinks that And also, I would like to add one more point. And mental health, as he said, psychiatric problems are even difficult to diagnose. As we know, even headache says the brain tumor, right? So psychiatric problems are more difficult to diagnose and more difficult to treat. So the patient may get a wrong idea of, and there is no personalized search available for the patient. But the doctor sees the patient and he diagnoses it. So I feel that we are putting the doctor's years of expertise with few Google searches. The patient compares the Google search with the doctor's expertise. It's like questioning the doctor. So these are my points.
Thank you, Rangapriya. So next, I'd like to call upon Sabari Girish for his rebuttal.
Yeah, is it audible?
Yes, you are audible, and you may start now, Sabari.
Yeah, okay. So the first thing is they mentioned cyberchondria. So I would like to add that a same study that was conducted in the US showed that that statement was false. Like the people who actually use credible sources, they actually showed an improvement in the diagnosis and an increased placebo towards the doctor. Second, someone mentioned about WhatsApp, etc. This is the exact point we are saying. People are resorting to the wrong sources of information. Someone said about Davidson and Harrison. Exactly. Davidson and Harrison are the standard textbooks, but people don't know that these are the reliable sources. And finally, something about Googling the symptoms. I would like to add that there are certain symptoms even the doctors will Google. But what is the difference between a doctor and a patient? Doctor knows the credible source to get information. This is not demeaning the doctor in any way. We are not saying that doctors can be replaced, but rather what we are saying is if the patient is able to understand the symptoms from a legit source, then he can understand the doctor better. And if he understands the doctor better, the placebo is more, and together they can move forward. So that is the core argument that we are forming upon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sabari. So next, I'd like to call Varshita for her rebuttal.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, and you may start now, Varshita.
Okay. So I would like to put forth my rebuttal. A doctor, as we all know, studies 19 subjects over a period of 5 years. So do you think a common man who will Google his symptoms will have a better knowledge than a doctor? And as my friend Sabri Grease said, I do agree that unethical practices do exist in the medical fraternity, but exceptions are everywhere. Not all doctors are going to be like that. And the doctor's popularity is going to be directly proportional to how honest he is and how good he is at diagnosing the conditions or the diseases. And also, one more thing about the doctor patient relation. So, usually, when a patient just enters the doctor's clinic, when he talks to the doctor, when the doctor prescribes him the medicine, he already feels quite well. So, that is the placebo effect that the doctor has. So, when Google comes in between, it's going to just give a lot of doubts in the patient's mind. And one more friend of mine, Shrija, she said that the Google it'll give a disclaimer that it's not the final diagnosis. But I think that the patient will already have a pre-mindset that it could be this disease, and the doctor will not have the freedom to have a differential diagnosis and choose which one suits the patient. And we all know that there are many variations in the human body which only the doctor understands on physical examination. So I stress that Googling is not a good practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Varshita. So next, I'd like to call Padma Priya to speak to do their rebuttal.
So, as my friend already told, hypochondria, they told.
You may start now.
Okay. So, as the people who talk for the motion, they told about cyberchondria. So, the worst case scenario in that will be anyway they are going to head to the doctor's office. They are going to go to the hospital. So, knowing about the symptoms and having basic knowledge about it is better. So, the patient can understand whether he is really going to a doctor, or he can differentiate between a doctor and a quack. And then a doctor-patient relationship, I don't think it gets affected. It actually gets strengthened with the help of credible Google resources, because he gets confidence in the treatment, and he easily cooperates with it. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Padma Priya. Aryanja, so now you may do your rebuttal.
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, so I would begin. Now, the very first flaw which I could figure out from the opposition speech was their understanding of the motion. Now they have a major conflict, that is internet for awareness versus internet for diagnosis. Here we are totally referring to using internet for diagnosing the symptoms. Secondly, when we are talking about cyberchondria, right, the patient will have stress and anxiety. Of course, he'll go to the doctor later, but when he's going to the doctor, he's going to discuss about his physical signs, right? But the stress, the anxiety, which will be persistent in the mind of the patients, like even during the treatment, he'll be wondering, what if I really had this? What if I really had that? So this mental aspect which we are missing, this cannot be overlooked, because mental health also forms an integral part of health. So overall, what I want to say, doctor patient relationship also matters a lot, but Google, it destroys not just Google, the internet as a whole, which also includes social media. It devours by fixing in fake information that makes the patients lose the trust, the faith in the doctors, in the healthcare staff, right? So overall, the motion of the team proposition which we have come with is that Googling is actually a headache for the healthcare system, and it should be condemned at all costs. Thank you.
Thank you, Aryan. So next, I'd like to call upon Shrija for her rebuttal.
Yes. So shall I start?
Yes, you may start, Shrija.
So for this rebuttal, firstly, I would like to say we are suggesting Google to use as a basic source of health information and not to make self-diagnosis for yourself based on the information. And secondly, you call the fancy term cyberchondria, increasing anxiety. But we have latest studies which show that it is improving the diagnostic accuracy rather than misdiagnosis, and there's no much difference in anxiety. And thirdly, we can understand that it provides right information if you go for the right websites. All the anxiety, stress, whatever it is, it's because of the wrong social media websites you follow, everything is because of it. Just take this debate. We don't all Google it, and we don't all get information from there. But what matters is how we present it and how we understand it, and to what extent we rely on. The same way, everything is Google is a double-edged sword. But because of the bad side, we can't just ignore its advantages. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Shrija. So next, I'd like to call upon Niranjana Davis for her rebuttal. Niranjana?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Niranjana.
Hello?
So you may... yes, you are audible.
Okay, my question to the first speaker. Have you heard about Quora? It's usually when we type symptoms, the results in the Quora platform first pop in. It is a platform where the ordinary people even can publish. It is less authentic and can inadvertently put you at risk. Next, about the quacks to the second speaker, there are only There are also fake advertising sites with quacks. A research article says 20% of them are of the advertising sites, medical telemedicine advertising sites are with quacks. It is even dangerous. In real, we can assess their mannerisms. That option is also lost through this. In a developing country like India, how can we expect people to look into professional websites? And the research also shows half of them use alleged sources and is even more misleading. It was to the third speaker. These are my arguments in general and the rebuttal we put forward. Am I clear?
Yes, thank you, Niranjana. So next, I'd like to call upon Sakshi Kumari for her rebuttal.
I would like to say, like someone had pointed out, the reliability of telemedicine. According to a study, it's 92% reliability of telemedicine. Secondly, someone pointed out that we did not quite get the motion that we were speaking for. I would like to say the very intention of Google is not to come up with a diagnosis. It is to make the people more informed. However, it is also 50, according to a study, 58% of the symptoms are being correctly diagnosed by Google. Also, layman people to search for heart attack in case of chest pain, leading to an entirely different set of diagnoses. And I would also like to say that um, about the credibility, right? When we Google it, the first site that we get is WebMD and Mayo Clinic. So at the top of the website, we always get the sites that are accredited by the government and the doctors. Thank you.
So thank you, Sakshi. So next, I'd like to call upon Shalomi for her rebuttal.
Hi, my points of rebuttal are based on four concerns. The first thing is shared decision making is not based, it should be based on the right platform, not on a single search engine. And one of my friends said that diagnosing the disease themselves is higher in some developed countries, and I consider that equivalent to getting treatment from a quack itself. Because Google has not even completed a single year of MBBS, and we all do agree that. And the third point is, as Bhatma Priya, one of my friends said that there is a certain extent to which a patient or a public should search for the content in the Google, healthcare info in the Google. But how do you know that extent? How do you know the certain extent to which you can search for it? If a person has dysmenorrhea or abdominal pain and she's searching for the tablets in Google and she gets a tablet, what if that kind of tablet is exactly contraindicated in the person? It could lead to lethal effects. And fourth point is that Google is not a place to get your personal health status. Google is not a place to know about your health. There are hundreds of programs that government has put forward to learn about your health status. Rare diseases in Google comes first. So these are the points of rebuttal from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalomi. So finally, I'd like to call upon Sweta for her rebuttal.
Yes, this is for my all fellow opponents. I can see your point, but I don't think Google and the information in which doctors study are completely different. And also, people completely rely on online information. You people have said now, but doctors are ultimate solution for the patients. If not, people won't visit doctors. Patients these days definitely understand this, I guess. And one more thing, the information from the net is not accurate. You have said. I say doctors these days are guiding people which app and information they should look into. As my other friend talked about iceberg phenomena, I know Googling alone won't solve your problems. It's always Google before visiting doctor, but do visit the doctor. Everyone is talking like it's an absolute threat to the patient-doctor relationship. But I think without the best information and evidence, care and patient safety might be compromised. That is why I strongly stand my stance that subjects should Google and always lend the help of network because why not? Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. So I'd like to have Nega to take over.
Yeah, guys, and by now we have come to the end of our competition. Give us few minutes before we announce the results. Ma'am, are you there, ma'am?
Yes, Mega. So what do I do now? I have to
Ma'am,
total and give you, or I'll just
you can
send the picture.
send me that. You can send me the picture, ma'am. We'll announce the results.
Yeah, yeah. You will have to total
Guys,
it up,
please do
sum it up.
wait. I'll do it, ma'am. We'll do it,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to tell one thing. Like, this actually the
Yeah,
topic
ma'am.
is
Yeah, no.
Googling symptoms, colon, headache to healthcare, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
ma'am.
so you can take it both ways. If you add a preposition yes, is Googling symptoms is a headache to healthcare. So some of them have taken that way, and some of them have taken like Googling symptoms right from headache to healthcare, whether it is for or against. Am I right, Nega? In the way you chose the topic,
Yeah, ma'am.
so some of them who actually wanted to say for were against, right? And many of them ended up saying that it is bad. Uh, I think there was a slight shift in the balance because of that, the way they perceived the topic. Okay. Anyway, I didn't want to intervene in between. So, however they have perceived it, and whatever according to the parameters which you have given, I've graded them. Yes, I will just now forward it. But I wanted to hear from you, Nega. So, what actually you meant from the title?
Actually, what we meant is the topic goes like it is like headache to the healthcare. Like it is not like being appreciated to like Google things. Like speak for or against that. Yes, Googling is right. Like that. The topic
Okay.
was Googling is a headache
Googling
to
is
healthcare.
okay.
It
Okay.
is a statement. The statement goes like Googling is bad. It is kind of a headache or an annoyance to the healthcare.
Okay, but you can also like understand it another way, like googling symptoms from headache, the basic
Headache.
simple symptom, up to the healthcare
Even that
level.
will do, ma'am.
Up to
Even
that,
that will
yeah,
also.
yeah. So that way also. So I was just observing how people were taking it. So anyway, there is no issue. I just graded it accordingly. I'll just send you the picture now.
Okay. I'll total it and I'll let you know the results,
Yes,
ma'am. And
yes, ma'am.
I would like
Yes,
you
yes.
to announce it.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Guys, please do wait. We'll announce the results soon. Give us a couple of minutes. Ma'am? Ma'am? Am I audible, ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Nega. Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Ma'am, can you wait a minute? I will ask Meera ma'am to come. Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am,
am I
she's here.
audible? One minute, guys. Ma'am, ma'am, we can proceed with
Yes.
the results, ma'am.
Yeah. So I would like to congratulate all the contestants of today's debate for this adrenergics SNO Tamil Nadu chapter. Uh, uh, I really enjoyed listening to you all because you have such great talent. Talking skills doesn't come easily to everybody. So this communication skill as a doctor is very, very important for you to uh, go up to greater heights in your career as well. It is not just your talking today and getting a prize or anything. Okay, so this gets carried away throughout your professional journey, and so I'm sure all of you will make very good doctors. And one of the goals of this latest Indian medical graduate is that you should be a good communicator. So in that way, hats off to all of you. So you've done an excellent job. But then, as you know, our hands are tied up, and we'll have to just limit ourselves to one prize and one runner-up and one speaker of the day. So my wish is that all of you should continue to attend more and more such debating events apart from your academics, and try to improvise your communication skills. So this is now is the time for me to announce the winner. So the winner is Varshita from Vellore Government Medical College. Yes, we'll all give her a big hand. Varshita?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
are
ma'am.
you happy? Okay, yeah, very good. The second, the runner-up is Aryan Jha. Are you there, Aryan Jha?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Which institution you are from?
Ma'am, I'm from NHL Medical College, Gujarat.
Gujarat. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So this network is really great, connecting all throughout India. So it's really nice to see all of you have joined here. And yeah, the next is the speaker of the day would be Sabari Grish. Sabari, you here?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah,
Good evening.
yeah. Good evening, Sabari. So congratulations to all of you, and also the other participants who gave you all a tough fight, because without the other contestants, I know there's not going to be fun, and all of you were so involved in tributing each other. So having the opponents is really important. But as I told you, we can only give you these three prizes. So congratulations once again to all the participants. And I would like to thank our dear Negashri, who's a real backbone for this debating event, even at MMC. She's a very active, dynamic student of MMC, one of the pride of MMC. And she's been very early, meticulously doing this work. Even in the previous debating event, we had seen her. And thanks to our Shalin also. So I'm seeing you for the first time from Viluppuram Medical College. You've been a great support in organizing this event. So once again, thanks to the organizers and to the contestants. Thanks for the opportunity too.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you so
Thank you
much,
so
ma'am.
much.
And we are glad to inform that it is actually an international event, ma'am. We are getting participants internationally as well.
Oh, that's really great. So this network is so helpful, and see how much technology is advanced. We are talking about Googling is bad, but this technology has helped us to connect each other so well. We are seeing each other from different parts of the world. Really nice.
Thank you so much for taking your time and being the judge for this event amidst
Yes,
your
yes.
busy schedule. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, ma. It's my privilege. So can we all leave the meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
thank you guys
Thank
for
you. Yeah.
participating. Congratulations to the winners.
Yes,
Thank you so
congratulations
much,
to the
ma'am. Thank you,
winners and
everyone.
thank you so much
Thank
for
you, ma'am.
participating.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.